welcome to the Jackie Griffin Show. I am so happy to be back here again today. As you can hear, I'm a little bit nasally. I have a little cold, but I'm here and we're ready to go. We have an awesome guest on our show. We have actually three awesome guests today, but we're starting off with Mr. Robert L. Gatewood, who is a marketing extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
We're so glad that you're here with us today. So tell us a little bit about Robert.
Well, I want to say where to start. I usually start by saying that I'm the son of a preacher, son of a sharecropper. In the old days, when you heard somebody say they was a son of a sharecropper, you expect great things from them. You talk about people like the great Marion Barry, James Brown. So I have a good precedent by being the son of a sharecropper, and so I have and then my dad, of course, was a Baptist minister, and so he gave me this gift of gab and the ability to talk to people, but I was called to a different calling. He was called to preach the gospel and to save souls. I was called to the gospel of marketing to save businesses. So it's one of the sayings I like to use is that I'm not here to save souls, I'm here to save businesses. And that's through my marketing. I call it almost a ministry because I'm so devout to it. And I'm actually on a mission. I'm on a mission.
And what is your mission?
Well, back in 2010, when the unemployment was just running rampant in the community, particularly in our community, in the African American community, I heard this saying that why complain about something that you have the ability to correct?
Correct.
So I started a radio show called The Marketing Pulpit with its mission to build strong businesses so we can put our people to work. I have a serious problem with every summer we load our kids in the back of our luxury cars and we take them out of our fancy swimming pools, out of our big 5-bedroom houses. We load them into our cars and drive them over to other communities looking for work. To me, that was a problem. I had a serious problem with that. I said, why can't we hire our own children? I think it's a poor commentary on a community when you can't hire your kids. I mean, it's one thing when you can't hire somebody and give them a $100,000 salary. I mean, that's a lot. That takes a lot of effort. But we got kids, we have children, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children just looking for a $7 an hour job, a $10 an hour job, to flip a burger, to mop a floor, and we're not providing those opportunities. Anyone who knows, studies psychology, understand that there's a cognitive thing that goes on about self-worth, the value of hard work, and if you're not providing that to children at a young age, we know what the alternative is. Drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, bullying, all of these things are the offshoots of not being able to provide these opportunities to our children. So I look at the long-term view. Of course, our businesses need to succeed, but something greater at stake, and that's the future of our children. So this ties into a greater mission of my marketing agency, my company, which is Gatewood Marketing, and also tying it into the radio show now, which is the Marketing Pulpit, and it ties into my greater calling. And I go back to my dad, the Baptist minister, and so he taught me the value of getting behind something, believing in something, being on this earth for something besides just trying to make a buck.
So what is your marketing firm doing, or how has it changed the community in the way it's helping the kids get jobs so they don't have to go to another community to get employment?
Well, the main thing, I was taking the long-term view. We start in our community, there are enough businesses that start. Okay, remember that. One of the challenges is, do we have enough businesses to hire the people that need the jobs? The answer is yes, we start enough businesses. Now, there's a big difference between starting enough businesses and having enough businesses. These businesses don't last. Most are gone by the first year.
Wow, okay.
And the ones that do survive the first year never get to the point where they can hire. The average black business has about less than one employee. That means you say, how can you have less than one employee? That means they're not full-time.
Correct.
And they definitely haven't reached the point where they can bring on somebody else. So we have a problem. We have all of these companies that, one, they're failing. The second point is that they have never reached the point where they can hire somebody. So I took it upon myself to say, let's instead of taking a zero-based approach, let's take a macro-based approach. Let's look at the businesses that exist and get them to the point where they can hire.
Correct.
Okay, and that is what my company has been doing. I do that through, I'm an instructor at the Prince George's College where I teach marketing. I have videos, I have workshops, and I have the radio show, and of course my advertising agency, Gatewood Marketing. All of them have the same mission. Let's make these businesses successful. I spent many years in corporate America. I worked in corporate America for about 20 years. I was a buyer for a national food chain. I was the president of a home delivery supermarket. I was senior vice president of Diet to Go for 15 years. And so I took all this knowledge, and I'm saying to myself, what good is it for me to enrich myself while my community is out here suffering? So I call myself falling on the sword for the community. I said, I'm going to take all this knowledge and bring it back to the community, which I don't think enough of us do, by the way. I'm going to bring it back to the community and focus on some of these issues that really can affect the next few generations.
Correct.
So that's what I'm doing. And my most recent venture was the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. It comes on every Friday at 10:30 a.m. And we bring on guests. We have people to tell their story. That's been our theme now. You have a story. Because in going into 2015, for anyone who's interested in marketing, content is the new marketing. Traditional marketing is always going to be here. But when you look at the marketing pie, it is being sliced up in these different ways now. And content is going to be king with social media, with radio, content. Now, if you don't have your story out there,
right,
just saying I have a good mousetrap, or I have a good hair salon, or I have a good T-shirt company, that's not enough. You have to have a story behind that, and that's what I'm trying to do. Get people in front of camera like we have here today.
Yes.
And that story needs to get out there.
Awesome, awesome. So to you, what is the importance? We were talking a little bit before the show came on about the importance of marketing. Why is marketing so important for businesses?
Well, let's put it this way. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Okay, you might have a hobby. You may have a reason to get out of the house every now and then. You might get a reason to put a nice logo on your shirt, or to drive a nice truck with your sign on it. But until you have customers, you do not have a business. Matter of fact, the IRS says you have a hobby. So let's look at it this way. So if you know that customers are the most important part of the business, what discipline, what area, what category brings those customers in the door? And it's marketing. People don't understand what marketing is. They think marketing is advertising. They think it's logo design. They think it's sales. Well, actually, marketing is more the ethereal part of bringing in customers. It's the thinking part. If I tell you to go out here and advertise on a radio show and you haven't done your marketing homework right, I think you're doing yourself an injustice. That simply means, one, finding out who is your target audience. That's number one goal of marketing. If you say to me, Robert, come on, and I get this all the time. People knock on my door and say, hey, Robert, I know this nice radio station, or I know this nice website I want to advertise. I said, well, let's back up a minute. Put this car in reverse. Who are you going after? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. So the job number one of marketing is understanding who your customer is. And the first test I give anybody, I say, okay, who is your customer? Because most people come to me, they say, look, Robert, I want to sell to everybody. I said, oh boy, let me roll up my sleeve. I got a fight on my hand, because that's the number one fight I have with customers, trying to convince them that everybody is not their customer. So I give them this little test. I said, okay, so you're saying everybody is your customer. So let me ask you this. How about homeless people? Are they your customer? That's okay, everybody except homeless people. I said, okay, how about people in Afghanistan? Okay, everybody except homeless people and people in Afghanistan. I said, okay, how about brand new babies? Okay, everybody except I said, hold on now. This can go on forever.
Correct.
Instead of us sitting here trying to figure out who is not your customer, let's take a little test and find out who is your customer. And once you determine who your customer is, everything starts to fall into place. Is your customer left brain or right brain? Where is the industry and the consumer adoption process? What are the 5 emotional reasons that they decide to buy the product, whether it's security, whether it's money, whether it's social proof, whether it's a desire to belong? What are those emotional reasons that cause them to buy the product? So we have to run that client through this marketing field to determine where are we going to go now and start marketing this product. So marketing is probably one of the most misunderstood professions out here.
Because that's what I was about to say, because with the new generation and this technology and this social media, some might say, well, I don't need a marketing agent. I could just go take to social media and do the same thing that a marketing agent or a marketing company would do. What do you say to those people?
Ms. Griffin, you have just hit on one of my pet peeves. I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want to malign anybody's industry or their occupation, but there's a lot of snake oil salespeople out here who are trying to convince people that I have a widget or a gadget that's going to pivotally turn your business into a success overnight. It's not going to happen. Marketing is a long-term process. You don't become one of these big Fortune 500 companies overnight. My best clients have been with me over 10 years, and some started out of the back of restaurants, some started in a trunk in their garages, and I have a client right over here on North Howard Street. It's a tax company. When they came to me, they had one location. I think they may have been working out of their homes. Now they have a location in D.C., they have the place up here on North Howard Street, they have a place in Woodbridge, and they have a thriving online business. They took the long view. Another company out in Virginia called Diet to Go, home delivery supermarket. They started working out of a back of a hotel kitchen. Now they have food from coast to coast. They took the long view to marketing. And so if you think that some little 10-cent gadget or free gadget you get off the internet is going to get you to that point, I have some serious news for you. It just doesn't work quite that way. So you got to invest. You got to invest in something. One of the problems is that we don't look at marketing as an investment. We expect something to turn around overnight. It just doesn't happen that way. You really have to take that long-term view, understand what marketing is. And so that's why another point why I started this show, because there's an education process that has to take place. Marketing is an intangible. It's not like I sell you a jacket, you can see it, you can wear it, you can see it looks good in it. Well, marketing is not like that. You got to educate people into why it's important and that you can't go buy some free gadget and it's going to turn your company around. It just doesn't work that way. So I have to spend a lot of my time educating, and I'm glad to do it. Because I feel if I didn't do it, we're going to continue to see this revolving door. Somebody comes knocking and say, look, I have a company now, I'm in business. Your friends and family comes out and spend their money, but you run out of those friends real fast. I tell people to use this litmus test. The first time you get a name that you can't pronounce in your database, you are officially in business. I remember when I did my first mailing for my marketing company. I mean, first, of course, my family, they all my customers had the last name Gatewood. I said, something's wrong with this, because there's a finite number of Gatewoods in the world. Well, I got this one name. I never forget the guy was named, I call it Magia. I said, wow, man, Mr. Magia. So I called him. I said, Mr. Magia, I got your message. I'm calling you in to set up an appointment. And they said, oh, yeah, by the way, the name is Mahia. I said, I am in business. Got that name I can't pronounce. You have to expand your base.
Correct.
You have to constantly expand your base. You do that through things like social media. Social media is a tool. It's not a panacea. It's not a cure-all.
So what advice would you give to that person who is thinking about starting their own company, or they have this gadget or whatever, they want to be an entrepreneur? What advice would you give them just starting out?
Do some research. And people think research means I got to go hire a big research firm. Well, there's primary research, there's secondary research. The primary research means, first of all, Google, see if anybody else is doing it. Who else is doing it? I had a client in my office yesterday, and he had a great idea, and he was all excited. And I said, well, look, let's just do this first step. Let's just make sure that one of the big companies are not already doing it. I said, I mean, you can compete against these small guys, but you go Google it, and you find out Walmart just started selling it last week, and they have all these outlets and all this unlimited money. So some just basic research, just to make sure you have a viable product or service. Everything that you do is not necessarily going. Some products are just services are never going to get off the ground. I hate to say it. I hate to bust somebody's bubble, but sometimes people come there and sit in front of me. I'm sitting there and I'm trying to say to them while they're talking. I'm sitting there saying to myself, now what's the most kind way to break this to them that this is never going to fly? And it's not because I'm being cocky or I'm a know-it-all, but that's the value of experience. That's the value of finding a consultant, somebody who understands marketing, business development. So if I had to cut to the chase and say, look, I'm serious about this. I'm trying to get this off the ground. This is very important to me. I'm about to invest sums of money. Without being self-serving, you probably need a consultant, somebody who's going to tell you how to do this. I can't go to the doctor and say, look, hey, look, man, I feel okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull my own tooth because I read a few books on it. Or you can't tell the judge, look, I'm here to defend myself. I just took a 5-minute law course. Something as important as business, something that can be generational changing as your business, you need to bring in some real help. And that's why I've made myself available. And I'm telling people, look, you don't have to pay me. I have workshops. I teach courses. I have a radio show. Listen free if you can't afford it. But don't let money be a reason for to throw your future down the drain on some idea that you thought was going to fly, but you had no proof or validation to back it up.
Awesome. That is so awesome. So, can you tell our viewers your information, how they can go to your website or whatever social media, more about your company? If they just want to get in touch with you, if they want to listen to you on the radio for free, like you said, just put all of your information out there so they can contact you.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. Well, my company is Gatewood Marketing, and that's at gatewoodmarketing.com. You can also call me at 301-839-2836. I have a radio show, comes on Radio 1. It's called The Marketing Pulpit, and that comes on every Friday at 10:30 a.m. You can go to marketingpulpit.com and find out more about the show. We also have shows in Pittsburgh. We have shows in Baltimore. We have a show in Washington, D.C. We have one in North Carolina. And so you can find the Marketing Pulpit, and we are preaching the same gospel. You got to build these strong businesses to put people to work. Also, I do a blog on LinkedIn. So you can just go to rgatewood.com, and you can find all the things that I talk about, and I put them in more of a life perspective on how these businesses and personal life conjoin to form who we are. And it's going to be the foundation of my new book that's coming out called Life is a Pretty Good Job. That's going to be coming out in March.
That is awesome. You have a lot going on. Do you have any upcoming seminars, events that you want to tell our viewers about?
Well, actually, on Friday, on February 6th, the first Friday of every month, we have what is called the Marketing Pulpit First Friday. And we have like a focus group approach where we get all the business owners to come together and they get to tell their story. And we have one coming up on this coming Friday over in Largo, Maryland. You can also go to marketingpulpit.com and find out more about the upcoming event. And also check the Marketing Pulpit regularly, because we're starting to do a webinar also on how to build your own website in one day. I'm also a web designer and graphic designer. So many people coming to me without websites. And I'm saying, well, look, why don't you have one? Well, I don't have the money. Well, I'm going to show somebody how to build that website, how to set up a registered domain, how to set up a hosting account, how to do a WordPress platform in one day, and that's coming up also in the month of March.
Why do you think a website is so important?
In the old days, a website was more like I used to have this survey, this questionnaire. Somebody come to me and say, look, I want a website. And I had this long questionnaire. I was like, all right, now, what kind of business do you have? How long you been in business? How many employees you have? Where you're located? Well, now I have one question. Are you in business? And if you say yes, you need a website. If you don't have a website right now, you're going to be viewed as an anomaly. People are not going to take you serious. They're going to think you're the Unabomber or something. This person doesn't have a website. You need a website now, just like you need a telephone and a business card. It has worked its way up now because credibility. If you go to make that presentation, before you leave the building, they're already trying to find you on the web.
Right.
And they're trying to make a decision between you and 3 or 4 other companies.
Correct.
The one that doesn't have a website is eliminated right away. I know this for a fact.
Can you look into the camera and just speak your heart to our viewers? What you have been saying is so pivotal and it's so important, and I'm so glad that you came to join us today. But please speak your heart to our viewers concerning marketing and anything else you want to talk about.
But thank you, Jack, and thanks for the opportunity. I just want to say to the listeners, our community is at a very critical time. There's all types of power, but economic power is going to be the power that's going to save us, it's going to sustain us. Our community is at the bottom rung of too many of the ladders, of the measures of what makes a community successful. We have the power, we have the talent, we have the tools if we would just use them better. And I think the thing that's going to save us is if we take the people who are building businesses. We don't have to go out and start any new businesses. Let's look at the businesses that already exist. Let's make these businesses successful. Let's get the tools we need. Let's bring in the experts that can help us. And let's do everything in our power to build an economic foundation for our future and for our children. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, thank you so much, Robert Gatewood, RG, as you
Thank
say,
you, RG.
for coming on the show today. And we'll be right back on the Jackie Griffin Show.
Thank you very much, Jackie.